Hey all, NIO announced their July delivery numbers, so we have a couple of things to talk through. And yeah, right now NIO is actually trading in the pre-market plus 3%. Actually, that's following the news that in Hong Kong it was up 8% during the day, I think up to 11%. And you possibly, if you follow NIO a lot, have been noticing that in the last couple of days and weeks we've been in a downtrend pretty much, right? And even in the pre-market. And yes, pre-market is not always a good indication of what's going to happen later on in the market. However, what we can certainly say about this period is that the Chinese EV makers, most of them actually have been getting discounted, I think, in anticipation of these delivery numbers, because there were indications, and I've covered this here on the channel, for example, with XPEV, who's been using discounts, coupons and stuff in order to facilitate sales. And I talked about in my video yesterday around the Chinese economic data on top of that. So I think there, in general, there was this sentiment going into these numbers today that they might be less strong. And so the numbers are 10,052 cars delivered by NIO in this July update. And the kind of annoying thing here for me as an analyst is that NIO has stopped to breaking up those numbers by models. So they're only mentioning that they have delivered 7,579 premium smart electric SUVs. And so within that, you have the ES8, the EC6, ES6, and then 2,473 premium smart electric sedans. And as NIO has only one sedan, that's obviously the ET7. So I don't really know why NIO is suddenly stopping to giving us the details on how many of each models have been sold. I was at least expecting to get a reason for it, and with such a release then, and kind of get maybe they become less transparent in that way, and maybe following the short seller report, who knows. But anyways, that was kind of a surprise to see there. But still, nonetheless, we can have a look at the numbers and what they mean. And obviously, 10K vehicles, is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's not strong, that's for certain. Personally, if you watched my videos before, I've been expecting more in the range of 13K. So similar to last month. But then again, if I update my graph here that I used to analyze those delivery numbers and break them down workday adjusted, we'll see that, well, it's kind of a return to this linear growth trend here. So NIO currently is not in an exponential growth trajectory, but in the very beginning of the S-curve growth that's hopefully to happen. It cannot always be seen exponential in the very beginning. So it's hopefully getting steeper and steeper from here. But basically, we're now about slightly less than 500 vehicles per day. If you break that one down, going into this monthly's deliveries, we had some speculation whether or not NIO may actually arrive at 18,000 deliveries based on some management disclosures that NIO had arrived at those 600 vehicles per day, which they did in fact last month if you break it down. However, the real per day deliveries now is slightly lower for this month. And so, this was kind of data that I mentioned before was possibly misinterpreted by some of the commentaries out there. And so, I did expect it to be lower, but not as much as this. But still, if you look at this, it's still in a trend line. It's going up that way. I've talked at length yesterday in my video about what I think is in fact going on in the background of NIO currently with all the ramping and scaling. Now, we don't get much explanation by NIO themselves. They are just saying that the production of the ET7 and the EC6 in July 2022 was constrained by supply of casting parts. And I mentioned that one already yesterday in the video, that for the ET7 at least there might be an impact. Personally, I was also thinking that, well, the words that Li Bin used was more like, we wanted to get the ET7 deliveries onto the next level, but we couldn't because of the parts missing. He wasn't really implying that it would definitely be lower than the last month. But still, so coming down from 4,000 to roughly 2,447 3 premium AT7s being sold is of course a lower number, but we'll see. Certainly they have more orders than that for the ET7, so I don't doubt at all that this is a supply issue here. I don't think it's a demand issue. They could have sold many more cars, in fact, indeed, if they would have had those casting parts. So it's in the end all about like whether or not they can get the production up and going again at this point in time. And as I mentioned yesterday, logistics and ramping and manufacturing, particularly with what's going on in this complicated setup with NIO right now, should be quite challenging right now. And unfortunately, also Li Bin said that possibly August will be very challenging in this regard. So all in all, this is not, a real positive, I would say. As I mentioned, in the bigger picture of things, it is still very much in line, and I do expect this graph to trend upwards into the right upper corner as it should, particularly now with the ES7 by the end of August, first deliveries. But the real impact will be starting in September, and then of course in September also the ET5, for which we also have an interesting insight here. This Twitter account, which usually is quite accurate actually in what he's been leaking or saying in the past. He said that there was an event with William Li at which the CEO said that there is a very big pre-order number for the ET5. Unlike the production ramp, the ET5 delivery will be targeted at over 10K per month pretty soon. As I've mentioned also in my last video, I would put question marks on this. Once again, scaling up production isn't easy for a new car, new platform, new factory. Expect lots of things to go wrong, but once again, there might be a good chance that the ET5 indeed can scale up quicker than before. And yes, I know it's kind of annoying that we don't get real pre-order numbers for ET7, ET5 with NIO, but I just do think that this is kind of, the way how they don't want to set those too high expectations. They're not those who are pushing out their internal numbers as much. And so, this is still quite an open guessing game at what point in time we'll finally coming in a more calmer water with those delivery numbers, it seems. I'm guessing that NIO is kind of aware of the high expectations out there in the market, and that they are really kind of scrambling to get those deliveries and orders out and deliver to these kind of expectations and promises. And so maybe that's also the reason why we yesterday and over the weekend saw some of these bullish news around this new factory, the NIO Park, the Progress, the ET5 Partner Day. And now also today, breaking news that NIO is planning to launch a third brand, which price could be as low as $14,000 or let's say $15,000 roughly. So totally a mass market vehicle, and I will talk about that maybe in more detail in the future. But basically what this news really means is that NIO is actually following this strategy that I've outlined a couple of, maybe months ago, actually. If you remember and watched that video, I was using this kind of, analogy around the Emperor's Palace, in which NIO has been, put their positioning right in the middle, in the palace of this country, and then expanding from there to all sides, from this premium to luxury segment, entering new fields more in the mass market. So we have now two different new premium brands, mass market brands actually, that NIO is intending to launch. And one of them maybe more in some kind of a Volkswagen Tesla type of segments. And this might be actually something similar than this Wuling Mini EV model here that you can see. This is only around $5,000 in China, by the way, built by GM Motors and their Chinese joint venture partner. and it's been selling like hot dumplings in China. And yeah, this category might be very, very interesting to enter. Of course, the price indication of 14K for NIO sub-brand here means that it might be a more proper car than this one actually. But still, this can enable like urban mobility, short range mobility, and sell in very, very high volumes there. And so, yeah, that might be something which I definitely think NIO will be looking at. Whether or not this is the right strategy with all of these sub-brands, similarly to what Toyota is doing today, launching brands in different segments under new names like Lexus versus Toyota and such. We'll see if that is the right thing. Personally, I'm more invested for NIO just for their premium to luxury positioning with NIO there. If they expand in such segments, then of course this means a larger volume that they can realize, larger total addressable market. Investors should like that, but the question is whether or not such news and announcement already will be enough to believe it. And well, there's lots of execution risk. And NIO, as we know, is already struggling with just getting NIO up and running and having a model set up that is similar to a established OEM like BMW and Audi. Well, anyways, that's it for now. Let me know down in the comments what you think about all of this. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.